In the last session, we discussed role of the American government after 9/11 in democracy assistance in the Arab Gulf states. And how many are the Arab Gulf states? Six. What are their names? Okay. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, and Oman. So we discussed some of the parts, some of the initiatives, organizations, departments, goals, objectives, strategies, and methods employed by the American government, various departments of the government, okay, and including the Congress, including the State Department, its various bureaus, and various governmental organizations. Today, we discuss its next part, that is human rights and women empowerment. Human rights in the Gulf region are very weak. The Bush administration tried to improve the situation of human rights in the Gulf countries. It set short term and long term goals. The Bush administration, the Bush government, set short term goals and long term goals for promotion of human rights in the Gulf countries. It worked on strategies to achieve these goals. So it made strategies to achieve the goals of promoting human rights in this region. It was observed that the US started actively supporting human rights in the Middle East after 9/11. American diplomats in Saudi Arabia met the National Society for Human Rights, in Saudi Arabia. American diplomats met with them. They also met the Human Rights Commission in Saudi Arabia. And the US trained the Saudi military. The United States, trained the Saudi military on human rights. They taught them, the American diplomats taught the Saudi military about international human rights rules. International human rights rules. Members of Saudi civil society were sponsored under the International Visitor Leadership Program, IVLP, in 2008. Sponsored means they were financed. Money was given to them. And International Visitor Leadership Program, it is an American program. So under this, members of Saudi civil society, they were taken for a visit to the United States. Government members were also sponsored. Government members, civilians as well as government members, they were sponsored. They were provided visits to the United States. They visited the United States and attended seminars there. The Saudis attended seminars in the United States. These seminars discussed human rights. In those seminars, which Saudis attended in the United States, human rights were discussed. They also discussed rule of law. They discussed participatory democracy as well. Participatory democracy, in which more and more people take part. That is participatory democracy. Laura Bush, the First Lady, visited Saudi Arabia. Laura Bush, wife of the President Bush. She made efforts to promote women's rights. She attended the signing ceremony of the US Middle East Partnership for Breast Cancer Awareness and Research. Human trafficking is the most serious human rights issue in the Gulf. Do you understand human trafficking? Yes. So it is the most serious problem in the Gulf countries. US officials worked to create awareness about this problem of human trafficking. They focused especially on workers and laborers. Workers and laborers. American diplomats in Bahrain showed films about human trafficking. Films were shown to Saudis. After the films, they held discussions. American embassies in Gulf countries contacted labor sending countries. Labor sending countries. Do you know the labor sending countries? The countries which send labor to Saudi Arabia, which are the countries? Philippines, yes. These mainly these are the countries where from labor goes to the Gulf countries: Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Philippines, okay, Indonesia. So the American diplomats contacted the governments of these countries to address the problem of human trafficking. American embassies in Gulf countries contacted labor sending countries. They cooperated with them. The American diplomats cooperated with the labor sending countries. They tried to control human trafficking in the region. They tried to control human trafficking in the region. Uh, one of my a nephew of my class fellow from Bahawalpur. He got a job in Dubai of computer operator. What was the job? Computer operator. He happily went. When he reached, they told, no, you are not a computer. You will work as a laborer. So he was a university graduate. He had done BS or MS in computer sciences. When he arrived in Dubai, the employer told, no, you will work here as a laborer, labor work, manual work. There's no job for computer operator for you. So he was disappointed. He was disappointed. And after a few weeks, he got back. But many people, because he got back because his family could afford him. His family could afford him. But in many cases, the family's circumstances are tough. And in most cases, the people who go for a job, they have to accept the conditions. They have to do the job, whatever it is. Okay? So they are forced to do the job which they do not want to do. It is also a case of human trafficking. Okay? So the American diplomats tried to control human trafficking in the region. They helped foreign workers in Qatar connect with NGOs in their own home countries. The US provided an expert into Oman. The United States provided an expert to Oman. The expert helped in drafting the anti-trafficking law. Anti-trafficking law, the law to address the problem of trafficking. The law was passed in 2008. Labor inspectors in Oman were trained to identify human trafficking cases. In Bahrain, Training was given to judges, lawyers, and law enforcement officers. These training programs were funded by the United States. Other programs helped strengthen worker rights in Bahrain. Strengthen worker rights to improve worker rights. US officials created an online forum. The forum spread awareness about the conditions of foreign workers. In 2008, the US ambassador to Kuwait met the Deputy Prime Minister of Kuwait. They discussed the deportation of Bangladeshi workers who protested. Bangladeshi workers, they protested in Kuwait and the government deported them. You know deportation? Sending back to their country. That is called deportation. He also talked about human trafficking in a press roundtable. So the American diplomats, they talked to the Kuwaiti government for the rights of the Bangladeshi workers who were being deported. He also talked about human trafficking in a press roundtable. The US Embassy published a brochure in Kuwait. The brochure explained workers' rights to foreign workers. So, in many cases, workers do not know their rights. Workers do not know their rights. Their employees violate their rights and they willingly accept the violation, workers. Are you getting the point? Because they do not know that their rights properly, so they do not understand. Many times they do not understand the violation of their rights. So the American embassy published a brochure. You know brochure? Some pages, brochure. And the brochures were provided to the workers so that they read and know their rights. Awareness campaign. The Oxen campaign in Kuwait focused on children's rights. Children's rights. Zavia ran this campaign. Zavia was supported by Middle East Policy Initiative, MEPI. Workshops were held for young people. The aim was to teach them about their rights. Gulf societies are male dominated. All of you understand male dominance? Women generally do not have equal rights. Women are systematically kept behind in every field of life. True democracy in the region needs women's rights to be protected. There cannot be true democracy if women's rights are not protected. So for true democracy, women's rights must be protected. Without women's empowerment, you understand women's empowerment? Democratization cannot move forward properly. Democratization cannot move forward properly. In fact, in these lectures, in these sessions, you are also being acquainted with the democratic terminology, the terms which are very important in democracy. Okay, so you are getting the basic concepts. For example, rule of law. It is a democratic concept. Do you agree? Do you agree? Rule of law, it is a democratic concept. Okay, women empowerment. Is it a democratic concept? Okay, human rights, male dominance, women rights, workers' rights. These are all, this is the terminology. These are our specific terms. So you are being acquainted with them. So in the long run, they will provide you a foundation for advanced studies of democracy in the coming semesters and next programs. Without women's empowerment, democratization cannot move forward properly. The Bush administration took steps to support women's rights. President Bush visited Kuwait in 2008. President Bush held a roundtable with female activists, with women leaders. They discussed democracy. They also discussed women's rights. The US Embassy in Kuwait arranged roundtable conferences, discussions. Female activists attended these sessions. Government officials also attended. A US official visited Kuwait in 2008. He held a roundtable with 8 female activists. An Arabic-speaking American visited Kuwait for 4 days. Arabic-speaking American visited Kuwait for 4 days. He toured the country, visited the country, and spoke about women's rights. He told the people about women's rights. The US ambassador to Kuwait met the housing minister in May 2008. They discussed housing rights for women married to non Kuwaitis. In many of these countries, there are laws. There are laws that if a local woman marries to a foreigner, she will get nothing in inheritance. She will get no share in the property of their parents. Are you getting the point? There are laws. If a woman marries to a foreigner, she will not have anything in the inheritance. So the Americans discussed housing rights for women married to non Kuwaitis, to foreigners. MEPI arranged internships for Arab businesswomen in American companies. American companies. MEPI also supported women's education in the region. For example, if some of you get the chance to work in some American companies, you will get to know the culture of the American companies. Okay, how employees in companies of a democratic countries, how they treat each other, how their rights are protected, like that. So it was done. The people from this region, some of the students, they were provided internships in American companies. And who arranged these internships? MEPI, Middle East Policy Initiative. In Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates, MEPI created a public-private partnership to help women. Bahrain Forum for Public-Private Partnership was launched in 2007. MEPI and Vital Voices launched it. Civil society groups and private companies were invited to join. Civil society, it is also an important term in the democracy debate, democracy discourse. The goal was to hold regular dialogues. The goal was also to help cooperation between private organizations and women's NGOs. Another public-private partnership was the Middle East and North Africa Business Women's Network, MENA BWN. MEPI and Vital Voices worked together with local women's groups. This partnership focused on empowering women economically, socially, and in business. It aimed to build a culture of women's entrepreneurship. The MENA Business Women's Network started in 2006. Among its 7 founding members, 3 were from GCC countries. Bahrain Business Women's Society was from GCC. Dubai Business Women's Council was from GCC, and Kuwait Economic Society. In 2008, Qatari Business Women Forum was also invited. The network's aim was to improve women's role in society. It wanted to promote women's entrepreneurship in the region. With this part comes to an end. I think it should be sufficient for today. So let's stop here.